to our artist interview video spotlight. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So before I get into my more in-depth questions, can you tell our audience like a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Bree Taylor. I'm a country singer-songwriter, obviously from Sauga. I've lived here for about 7 years, but I grew up here. My family's from here. We moved a lot though, all over the city growing up, but this is kind of like one of my hometowns and somewhere that I've always considered my home. So it's just great to be a part of the community and a part of Mississauga Arts Council. So thank you guys for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining us. So let's talk a little bit more about your music. So like, how would you describe your style of music?
Yeah, so I mean, my music's the root is country, but I do have a lot of history in like the pop rock genre. I grew up listening to pop and rock music. So I kind of pull those elements into what I do with country, which makes it a little bit different. And I try to keep my country music a little bit different, left to center than most people, just to kind of be authentically myself, but also to kind of stand out from the crowd and what everyone else is doing. There's only one you, and I'm all about being authentically yourself. And that's kind of me. My live performances are really upbeat, high energy, really fun. I try to keep it like a fun environment.
Yeah, that's great. So when did you start like creating your music? Like, can you tell us a little bit about the timeline of your career so far?
Well, I've been singing since I was little, but it took probably my aunt really hearing me at one of our cottage getaways as a family thing when we were younger, and hearing her say that she actually thought I was talented and had something in me, and that someone believing in me made me think, oh, I can actually maybe do this. And I think I was about 9 or 10 years old at the time, and I'd always been writing in my notebooks my songs and lyrics and poems, and I just never felt like I was capable of doing the artist life. And then I kind of just started off in like vocal lessons and started from there. And I actually, believe it or not, a lot of stage fright growing up. And my music it took me a long time to get to where I'm at now, because I had to go through so much on a personal journey, and having that confidence and discovering who I am as an artist and what I wanted to say in my own music. So, it took a lot of self-discovery throughout my teen years and getting that confidence on a stage platform as well. So having to overcome a lot of those things. So people would have met me 10, 15 years ago, they would never know I was the same person that I am today, but it just shows like how far we do come as people and how resilient I am as a person. But yeah, my music's kind of progressed over the years. I kind of started off in the pop realm, but felt like country's always been where my heart was as a genre to sit in. And I feel like what I'm doing now is exactly what I want to be doing.
That's great. That's wonderful. Yeah. So I know you mentioned that you've gone through a lot, like up to this point, like overcame a lot of challenges. So, and that including battling hearing loss as well. Can you tell us how that affected you, like personally, and then also as a musician?
Yeah, it was actually really tough because all throughout my childhood, I was having hearing problems and didn't even know that I couldn't hear properly. And I eventually went to a doctor and found out, that there was issues. And unfortunately, I did have a doctor that did some bad surgeries to my ears that made it worse, not better. And unfortunately, that led to the only option being hearing aids, because any further surgeries were going to be too much of a risk to lose all of my hearing. And as a singer, it's always been something my parents knew was something I wanted to do, obviously, since I was like about 9 or 10. And it's been something that I've really wanted for myself. And having the hearing disability is a big hurdle as a vocalist and a singer and someone in the musical field when you're on stage and loud pounding music and feedback from your hearing aids. So it was definitely an adjustment, and on a personal level, it made me come out of my shell from being this really shy, introverted kid at a young age, and I was struggling to kind of find myself. And I feel like I found myself through the healing journey that I went through, discovering that, oh, now I can hear, I can get through this. And then it's just been kind of uphill from there, but it does still obviously have its challenges. It's been really amazing to have, a lot of support though within that, and recently receiving an OAC disability grant for recording has been really amazing to be acknowledged on that front, to know that, there are support for people with disabilities. And my brand is very much built on resilience. And I feel like that's the epitome to my core of what I've gone through and what I stand for. So that's just another thing that I can just tell people, the life throws curveballs at you, you go through challenges, but no matter what, you can keep doing it. Like something like that I could have taken and said, hey, okay, I guess I can't be a singer because, I can't hear properly or have this challenge, but it's just another challenge that we can always overcome.
Yeah, that's great advice. So can we talk a little bit more like your songwriting, and what is it like writing a song and then composing a song? Where do you kind of take inspiration from?
Yeah, I definitely take inspiration from everywhere. So my personal journey is usually the core of where I start from, is something that I'm feeling or an emotion I'm going through or a situation I'm going through. And then oftentimes too, like, we are so interconnected as a community within other people, our friends, family. So I do kind of pull from that too. And I always kind of start with an intention behind a song when I'm doing something, because I really go into everything that I do with intention. And so writing my songs, it kind of starts off there with a story or a meaning or a message that I want to achieve. And then we kind of build off of that. And it's always a little bit different too if you throw in some co-writers. Sometimes people have really great ideas, or you can bounce ideas off of them, or they can add something to something you're trying to do. And it's just a really cool creative process. And then just building a song off of that always starts kind of with an acoustic guitar or basic piano, and then just goes from there.
Mm-hmm. Is there a favorite song recently that you've worked on? Because I know you have, like, On My Own just recently came out.
Yeah.
Can you tell our audience a little bit more about that one?
Yeah, so On My Own's my recent single, which I'm really happy about. I actually wrote that almost 4 years ago, believe it or not, and it was going to be my debut country single. We ended up changing directions and releasing my song Turn It Up because it was a little more high energy for a summer song. So we ended up doing that back in 2019. But On My Own was just such a great song that I didn't want to leave it alone and not give it the justice I felt like it deserved, because it's such an empowering message to people that no matter what you go through in life, you're okay and you can do this on your own. I mean, obviously it always helps to have a team, a tribe of people behind you, and not to say you need to isolate yourself by any means, but just that we're all capable of getting through any situation within ourselves, that we have that strength and that we can pull through. At the time, it was obviously a little bit more about like my dating woes and, you know, disappointments, and kind of feeling like I don't need someone to complete me. I'm good on my own. I don't need that person necessarily. It's more like, you know, getting to that place of self-acceptance and self-love, which has been something that's been really important to me in my personal journey and getting to where I'm at. So the song actually means a lot to me, and I'm really glad a lot of people have been connecting with it, because everyone can pull their own little stories from within the lyrics. But yeah, it's been a really great ride so far with it, and it's definitely one of my favorites just based on that messaging and the story behind it and the journey I've gone through. But definitely my last single, Kryptonite, I feel like was just such a cool, had a rocker edge vibe to it, and was just such a great song for anyone who's been through any heartbreaks, or, you know, we've all had that person that we've loved that wasn't good for us. So it was kind of that messaging within that song, and the video that we did with it within a CGI world was just so freaking cool. So I have to say that's one of my more recent favorites too.
That's great. So what artist would you inspires a lot of your body of work? Do you have a favorite artist, you say?
Yeah, I have lots. That's a very tough question. Of course, all country girls will say Shania Twain, because we all grew up on that, but I definitely grew up on like so many different artists. Amanda Marshall, who's kind of like got that pop rock vibe. I really grew up on her music, and really that resonated with me. Michelle Branch is someone that I looked up to as well growing up, and she's the one who inspired me to pick up a guitar and even start trying to write my own music. But yeah, like nowadays it's just like I listen to everything and everything. So I mean, Carrie Underwood is really great as well. I try to really pull from like other genres as well. So I feel like Pink and her like kind of badass attitude and unapologeticness is something I really am drawn to within her identity and her music too. So like a Pink Carrie Underwood hybrid is more how I describe my current style for my music now.
Yeah, that's an interesting combination.
I know. That's me. I'm always different. I'm trying to be a little bit, you know, left of center from most country people. So
yeah, but that's great. I think that's awesome.
Thanks.
So now that COVID-19 restrictions are loosening, do you have any plans for any upcoming performances or other projects in the year?
Yeah, I do. I have a really exciting one that I'm excited to kind of tell you guys about. That actually at the Rec Room here in Mississauga, I'm going to be doing a charity show, a combination kind of celebrating my birthday, but more for the charity. It's called 10 Fed. And they are a charity that helps feed hungry families and children across Canada and internationally. So for every ticket sold, we're going to be feeding 10 whole families. So it's a really great cause. I'm also collaborating with them on some merchandise for my next upcoming single. So that'll be really fun. And I'm going to have some other great artists on the bill too for the night. So it'll be a lot of fun. I'm really excited, obviously, to get back on stage. I think all of us artists are. And then we'll just keep updating everyone as more things kind of get added. I'm in the talks about some other stuff. So fingers crossed that things keep going, because we definitely are missing live music.
Great. I think and a lot of people are, right?
Yes.
A lot of people are.
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
Yeah, so my website is breetaylor.com. Has all my links on there. I'm mainly active on Instagram. That's my #1 platform, which is Bree Taylor Official. Same for my Facebook. And then yeah, there's Twitter and all that good stuff too. But Instagram is the #1 place to find me.
Perfect. So we're looking forward to all of your projects in the future and seeing live performances in the recent one at the Rec Room. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
Bree.
you so much.